Hey guys, this is your reading of the Chapter 6 Ancient India and China reading that you should be doing for today. So you're going to go into your classwork, you're going to click on Ancient India and China, and then we're going to click on that first page. So I'm going to read through this. Remember, you can pause and write down some things for your chapter checkpoints. Make sure you are doing that after this as well as your quiz. Okay? So, Chapter 6 Ancient India and China. Two other great civilizations began near big rivers. If you went east from the Fertile Crescent, you would come to the Indus River Valley in India. There are busy cities near the Indus River 4,500 years ago. If you traveled far east, you would come to the Hanghe Yellow River Valley in China. The people who lived near the Hanghe invited a kind of government that lasted almost 4,000 years. In this chapter, you will learn how Indian civilization began in the Indus River. Then you will also learn about the Chinese civilization that began in the Han Valley. Okay, so first you're going to look at this map that's on this page. So look at the map below. Look at the distance scale. So the distance scale is actually right here. A distance scale is used to compare the distance on a map to the distance on Earth. Use your pencil to draw a line from where the Tigris River, so the Tigris River over here, the Tigris River flows into the Indian Ocean to where the Indus River flows into the Indian Ocean. Use a ruler and measure this line against the distance scale on the map. How many miles separate these two? So use a ruler if you have one to figure out how long this is, and then figure out from one point to another how long that is. Okay. If you have questions about that, you can comment on this video, and I can walk you through it a little bit further. Page 38. A lost city. For a long time, no one even knew that there had been ancient cities in the Indus River Valley. Then, in the 1920s, archaeologists made an important discovery. They found cups and vases, coins, and jewelry buried in the soil. Beneath hills of earth, they found streets and houses, and they found the skeletons of people. The archaeologists realized they had found what was left of a ruined city. They named it Mohenjo-Daro, meaning the city or mound of the dead. Houses in Mohenjo-Daro were made of fine brick. More than 40,000 people once lived there. Like the Sumerians, the people of this place had a written language. They also had learned how to irrigate their crops. The archaeologists discovered many things that came from the Fertile Crescent. This showed that the people of Mohenjo-Daro and the Fertile Crescent had traded with one another. The new people. A new group of people arrived in the Indus River Valley over 3,000 years ago. They were a warlike people called Aryans. They conquered all the land around the Indus River. The culture of the Aryans changed life in India forever. The Aryans brought with them a language called Sanskrit. Many languages that are spoken in India today developed from Sanskrit. The Aryans also invented the caste system. The caste system divided people into groups. People who did the same type of work all belonged to the same caste group. People could not change the caste into which they were born. Next page. Look at the chart on this page. You can see that some castes were higher and more important than other. The highest caste was the priest in the caste tower. Then the servants were in the outcasts. The outcasts had to do the jobs that no one else wanted to do. So you can actually see the priests were on top. There were less of them, so that's why they're at the top. Servants were at the bottom. There are more of them, that's why they're at the bottom, because the triangle gets larger once it gets to the bottom. And outcasts weren't even in the triangle. They were all the way out on their own space. The system had lasted for thousands of years. The government of India made parts of the system illegal in the 1900s, or right here. The Aryans also brought with them their beliefs about gods and goddesses. These beliefs became a religion called Hinduism. Hinduism is still followed by many people in India today. You will learn more about Hinduism in seventh grade as well, just so you know. One important belief of Hinduism is that people were born again in different bodies of after they die. People who lead a good life are rewarded in the next life. For example, a kind of hardworking farmer might be born again as a priest, but people who are lazy or cruel might be sorry. They might be born again as outcasts. In Hinduism, it is important to lead a good life. Checkpoint. In what way were Hindu beliefs about what happens after a person dies the same as ancient Egyptian beliefs? How are they the same? Is Hindu beliefs the same as Egyptian beliefs? Pause the video, write it down, and then you can go back and answer it in the document on Google Docs. Chinese civilization. Like the story of Indian civilization, the story of Chinese civilization goes back thousands of years. It began in the Han Valley. The first Chinese were farmers, and they lived. First the first Chinese were farmers, and the valley they lived in was a fertile one. Each summer he flooded. Like the Sumerians and Egyptians, the Chinese irrigated their farms. The Chinese learned to work together. About 4,000 years ago, they began to live in villages and cities. About the same time, a powerful family named Shang united all of the villages and cities in Han He Valley. You should have learned about Shang last week or 2 weeks ago when we had our first packet during the first break. This ruling family became known as a dynasty. We all know what a dynasty is. In a dynasty, when a king dies, his oldest son becomes the new king. The Chinese were ruled by one dynasty after another until the early 1900s. The Han Dynasty began about 2,000 years ago. China became strong and rich during the Han Dynasty. The Han family conquered many new lands. They also built a wall to protect their new land. This wall was called the Great Wall of China. The Great Wall still stands today. It is thousands of miles long and took many years to build. Checkpoint. Look at the picture. In what kind of land region was the part of the Great Wall built? So what do you see in this picture? What do you think is in this picture? What kind of land was this wall built in? Okay. Mysterious bones. About 100 years ago, an exciting discovery was made about the Han He Valley of China. Farmers at work in their fields found some mysterious animal bones. The bones had strange marks and cracks on them. Archaeologists studied the bones. They realized that the marks had cracks where thousands of years. They showed the earliest writing in China. Had the bones been used? People scratched pictures on the bones and heated them until they cracked. Then they would read the pictures and the cracks would tell what to happen in the future. We actually talked about this in the first packet that we had for the first 10 days too. The Chinese language today does not have an alphabet like the English does. Instead of 26 letters, there are thousands of different symbols or characters. A man of peace. Around 2,500 years ago, a man was born who would become one of China's great teachers. He was called Confucius. His ideas influenced Chinese government and society for over 2,000 years. He taught a way of life that helped bring about peace and a just government. Little is known about the early life of Confucius. He is supposed to have been a good student. When he was still a young man, Confucius became a government worker. Later, he became a teacher. There was much warfare and bad government when he lived. He traveled all over China trying to teach government workers the best way to govern. Confucius felt that there could be no peace until people learned to live good and kind lives. You have read that China was ruled by one family after another. The family was very important in Chinese culture. Confucius believed that peace and justice began in the family. He taught that children should respect their parents. He also taught that parents should respect their children. Confucius believed that there were 5 virtues and values that people must have. They must want to do good to one another. They must act kindly toward one another. They must honor and respect one another. They must try to get learning and knowledge, and they must be sincere. Confucius used these ideas when he talked to China's rulers. He taught that rulers should be wise and kind. In return, people should obey their rules. Checkpoint. Write one rule you would make to help people lead good lives. Explain why it would work. So write down what you think, and then you're going to go back and you're going to do your chapter checkpoints. So chapter checkpoints, remember, go in, okay, copy this assignment, go in and create your own, okay? Just want to make sure I am on, okay, so that way you can see the quiz. Remember, you can always make it a double screen so you can listen to this video as well as take your quiz at the same time. So your quiz is on chapter 6. Oop, sorry, I was on the right part to begin with. Chapter 6, sorry about that. All right, so chapter 6. Indian civilization began in the Fertile Crescent, the Nile River, the Hang He Valley, or the Indus River Valley. Number 2, Chinese civilization began in the Fertile Crescent, the Nile River Valley, the Hang He Valley, or the Indus River Valley. Next one. One important belief of Hinduism is that A, there is one God, B, people can tell what will happen in the future, C, people can do whatever they want, or D, people are born again after they die. Remember, you can pause this video if I'm going too quick and even go back and listen to the reading to help you, okay? Next question. The highest caste in Indian society was the A, priests, B, fighters, C, farmers, or D, outcasts. Chinese writing has A, 26 letters, B, 26 characters, C, letters written on bones, or D, thousands of characters. Second to last question. Confucius thought that A, China was a powerful country, B, people could tell what could happen in the future, C, rulers should do anything they wanted to, or D, people must honor and respect one another. And last question, how were the ancient civilization described in this chapter alike? So how was Chinese and the Chinese and Egyptian, how are they kind of alike? How are they different? Actually, Chinese and Indian, sorry about that. How are they alike? How are they different? So you're going to explain that in your answer there. Okay? If you have any questions, make sure you comment on this video. I will see you guys again next time. Bye.